Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday, June the 19th. I'm Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com. You're watching the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, brought to you by gamblersworld.com. And like every Monday, we're joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. It's always a pleasure to see Doug after the weekend with that smiling face. How are you? How was your weekend, my friend?
Everything was excellent. Ross had like yourself, I'm sure, had a nice Father's Day situation, so that was good, and got to see my daughter's actually in Germany right now, so she couldn't attend, but obviously, the grandkids and stuff like that. So that was all good, and went swimming and did all that stuff. Had some good food, and the sports world was pretty interesting. I know not everybody's following it, but the College World Series. I don't know if anybody's watching it. If you watched it, we had 6 games this weekend, and 5 of them were decided by one run. So all the games were excellent. And I can see, just looking here over here to my left, is it's 4-4 right now with Tennessee and Stanford as we do this video. So every game's been good. The quality of play is excellent, and so that's been good, and had some good results in a variety of sports as well. Ross, how about yourself?
I can't complain. Went 4-0 over the weekend with my
Nice.
Major League Baseball picks. I had my 10-star game of the month up yesterday and knocked that out of the park. Didn't start too well, Doug. I had the Texas Rangers minus
Okay.
114.
Yes.
The ride up was really bumpy, but the landing was very smooth as the Rangers won 11-7. And then on Friday on the show, we had 2 podcasts here on Friday on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. One with you, one I did with Sean Higgs, because Jesse was out for the weekend. He was on vacation. And we went a combined 4-0, folks, on our Friday video. So in Major League Baseball. So I'm sure all of you out there who do watch and who are rational appreciate it. And we really, really appreciate the kind words that have been coming our way over the last few weeks. And hopefully we can continue to bring you the best information possible to make you a smarter sports bettor today than yesterday. Now, if you were with me and Doug on Friday, we did a little segment called Fact or Fiction, and we're going to continue with that today. And here's what we're going to do, Doug. We're going to go one question at a time, and folks, we will have free picks for you, so be patient. This isn't all about free picks, but, as you can see, it's important to us that we win for you at the same time. But I am going to be talking about the LA Dodgers and LA Angels game tomorrow on Tuesday the 20th. And Doug is going to be covering the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies on Tuesday, June the 20th. But before we get to that, all right, Doug, I'm going to start with you.
All right.
I'm going to give you a question. The Detroit Lions, are they overvalued to win the NFC Central, at odds of plus 130? Because nobody else is with, you got Chicago 325, Minnesota 325, Green Bay 400. Almost strange to look at. And I ask overvalued because this isn't a team that's not a regular in the playoffs. As a matter of fact, when you think of the Detroit Lions, with all due respect, you think about a bottom feeder. And now here they are, a plus 130 money line favorite to win the NFC Central. Fact or fiction? Good value or bad value?
I'm going to go fact, but by the smallest possible margin, okay, yeah, on that one. And the reason being, it has more to do with everyone else than it has to do with the Lions. No question, the Lions are improved. Okay, we've seen it each of the year and a half, let's just say, of the Lions coming on. So there's definitely some things in the right direction. That didn't do a lot in the offseason in terms of acquiring more talent, but obviously they were satisfied with what they had. Minnesota, we have talked about Minnesota. Last year, there's no way that they were a 13-win team by the games they won. They were, but it just overall, and that was quickly shown in the playoffs. Okay, when they were dismissed. Okay, from that standpoint, obviously Green Bay no longer has Aaron Rodgers. If there's one team that I think that could beat Detroit, to be perfectly honest, and this is not being a homer, I think it's Green Bay, because I think their defense was still good, and I think it can certainly be improved. And I think Jordan Love might be a little better than almost everybody thinks. Okay, I'm not saying he's going to be great. I'm not even going to pretend that. And the Chicago Bears are the Chicago Bears at this point. Okay, so
Yeah.
not much. So I'm going to go with fact, but not a great deal of facts. Or I'm not going to go alternate facts on you now, Ross. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go just slightly. I use small letters as opposed to caps.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Slightly a good value. Although I would have preferred somewhere in the area of 175 to 200 at this price right now. I am not going to make a bet on a futures here. I'm not a big futures guy to start with, but I lo and behold, I'm not going to bet a team at plus 130 to win a division that hasn't won a division in recent memory. They just don't have that winning reputation. They finished strong last year. They were a much improved team. I love Dan Campbell. I love what he's doing there. The players are starting to take on his personality, and that's what you always look for in successful teams, in my opinion, Doug. And you could chime in if you like, but successful teams take on the personality of their head coach. And I think they're on the way to doing that. Sooner or later, the talent level will rise, and the combination thereof. I think that they're going to be a factor. Look, if you ask me who the favorite is to win a division right now, I would agree with it. But at that price, it's not what I would call a great betting value, but it is I slightly lean that way, just like yourself. Your turn.
Yeah, and the last time the Lions won the division was the first year of when they went to 8 divisions, which was 2002.
Yeah.
So that gives you some history. All right, here we go, Ross. Fact or fiction? The Phoenix Suns traded for Bradley Beal, okay, in a big trade on Sunday, basically. Will the Suns win a division title in the next 3 years? Sorry, division NBA title in the next 3 years.
It depends on as they sit right now. No, because they don't have enough quality depth. That three-headed monster. I mean, basically all you're doing is replacing Bradley Beal for Chris Paul, and I don't have a problem with that. I think at this point of Chris Paul's career and his inability to stay healthy near the end of the year, namely playoff time. I think this is a slight upgrade at this particular moment in time. But until the Suns, I would have to. A direct answer is no, unless they improve their quality depth.
Yes, and with that, I would agree. The other thing too is that none of the 3 players, I would say Beal is probably the best two-way player of the bunch. Okay. Booker can be, but he doesn't often play that way. And then you're still going to need a point guard. Now, if you're going to make Booker the point guard, okay, well, then that means a lot more responsibility, both offensively and defensively, which could wear, a guy down that's used to being a scorer. So, yeah, I mean, and I don't know where the depth comes from, especially if they continue to hang on to DeAndre Ayton, because just going into this next season, Russ, they got $163 million tied up into those 4 guys. Okay. Yeah. But unless you get lucky in the draft, picking on the back end of the draft, I'm not seeing it. It'll be interesting team, no question. But that's about it for me. I agree with you.
Let's not forget though, Doug, and I'm sure you haven't. But you still got NBA free agency coming up. You don't know what's going to happen in the draft either, where they could find a point guard. But again, it's a concern. Until they do so, I would have to say no is my answer to that question, and it's fiction. All right, here's my next question for you, Doug. The Yankees right now are a good bet to make the playoffs at minus 200.
I'm still going to go with fact. I think overall, but I'm just not really sold on this team. That was ugly this weekend. Now, anybody can have an ugly series, but there's just things about this team that I don't know, Ross. It just, maybe there's something else going on here. Okay. That I don't know. It's an uncomfortable feeling team. I guess maybe that's the way how I feel about it, which is I think it's a fact they can still make the playoffs, but is it really a great bet? Boy, that's a close one. It's similar to the question you gave me before. I'm not sold on them, from that standpoint. And this is go ahead. Do you have a response?
I just emphatically would say it's not a good bet. I just don't. I personally don't see anything changing unless they make a plethora of trades leading up to the trade deadline that improves themselves offensively. I mean, come on. You got guys like Volpe hitting fourth or IKF hitting fifth and sixth on occasion. Cast that aside. You got to score runs to win. Their pitching has been good. Their bullpen has been good. But too many holes in the lineup, Doug. You can't continue to consistently win games 3-2, 4-3, and then go do what you did against Boston over the weekend. It's not like Boston is the second coming of the 69 Mets starting rotation, and they made the Yankees look triple-A-ish offensively over the weekend. So, no, I would say my answer to that, Doug, is it's fiction. It's not a good bet.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that's good. Now, this does prove that we did not talk before the show. So I got to come up with a. I'll let you answer this quickly. I'm not going to on it, but because it's on the same topic. The same topic was fact or fiction. The Yankees are the fourth best bet in the American League at plus 700. Do you think is it fact or fiction that number is too high right now? So they're fourth in the American League at plus 700 to win the American League.
All right. And your question again is,
and so is that too high, or is that too high of a number at fourth to win the American League?
I think it should be, no, it's not. So it would be fiction. I think it's right where it needs to be. And I would not be surprised before the All-Star break if they're hovering around plus 800 to plus 1,000. The way things are going right now. Again, Doug, it's not like they have a lineup that I think is underachieving. They're not. When you look at that lineup, they're not. I mean, when you take Aaron Judge out, it makes a big deal, right? Sure. But Stanton's not doing anything. Rizzo's having a tough year. You're expecting these role players to come through, and these guys are nothing but 220 hitters at best. So, yeah, I think it's too high? No, that's fiction. And I would not be shocked to see that number get just a bit higher before it's all said and done. And if it's not over the next couple of weeks, it's only because the New York Yankees bettors carry a lot of weight. That's the only thing I could say.
Do you think that they would move to fifth as opposed to fourth, just offhand?
I don't see them dropping any further than that, only because you can't really make a case for you can't go 6-7 deep down the road and say this team's better than the Yankees right now, and eventually will be better. Because you know that if they're in any kind of playoff contention, that Brian Cashman's going to roll the dice. His job, it's not like his seat wasn't hot to start with. At the end of the day, it's all about winning world championships with the New York Yankees organization and not playoff appearances. So hopefully I answered that question to you.
Oh, yeah. Right. There you go. That's perfect. All right.
All right. The Reds plus 500 to win the NL Central is a good bet and a great value. Fact or fiction?
At the moment, it definitely is. It does seem like fact, winning eight in a row. But I still think Milwaukee has a better lineup. Okay, better lineup overall. Not necessarily if when you break them down individually, you can make some cases for Cincinnati in some areas. But they're hot right now, and I think what are they scoring? I think they're scoring like 8 runs a game in their last 8, somewhere's in that area. So their offense has been red hot. I like their young pitching staff by and large, but not there's still some things there that are to be solved. So I think at the end of the day, I think that the Milwaukee Brewers will be the team that wins the division. So no, I do not believe it is a good back. So I'll go with fiction on that one for myself.
I'm going to go with fact, and I get what you're saying. On paper, Milwaukee should be winning this division by 10 games right now, but they're not, and they're underachieving, and they're not hitting with any kind of consistency. And Corbin Burns, who was so lights out for a couple of years now, he's still really good, but he's not as consistently good as he was, or I should say consistently dominating. Does that make more sense to make that comment? So, their top 2 guys in the rotation are definitely better than what Cincinnati could throw out there at any time. But I love the Reds. I love the way they're playing right now. I mean, right now, I would say at plus 500, a small bet on the Reds is a good betting value right now, because we're talking about a division where somebody might win that division with a losing record. You never know, like the AL Central. But right now, I like the direction the Reds are going. They're playing with confidence. They got some really bright young players. And I'm going to go with fact on that one. So,
all right, there we go. Now I'm going to go real quick here, off topic. Okay, on this one, I'm better at these, by the way, when I go off topic on this one. So Ross Benjamin goes out to eat. Okay, he's going to a steak joint, porterhouse, ribeye, prime rib. Now, if you had to ask me, okay, fact or fiction, I would say ribeye, and I can't even tell you exactly why. It's just a thought process on my part. So I'm going to say ribeye, fact or fiction.
Ribeye would be my third choice of the bunch.
Okay.
I would go with porterhouse number one, prime rib if I had too much porterhouse for number two. But ultimately, Doug, to answer your question directly without embellishing anymore, it's porterhouse for me.
Okay, all right. See, I was wrong. So that's a good. It's an interesting thing. I just went out for myself for a steak on Saturday night, so made me think of that. So here we go with that.
And what did you have? You had a ribeye?
I had a strip steak. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Had a delicious strip steak from that standpoint. But for most people, I know that's farther down the list in terms of what they typically have. But I've had some good luck with those lately, so I've gone that direction.
All right, let's get on to our picks, because the last time we did this and we talked about custard or ice cream, somebody chimed in and says, "Who cares? I want to know what the picks are." Anyway.
Well, here we go. Here come the picks then.
All right, Doug, start it off, buddy.
Philadelphia. All right. So, we got two smoking hot teams coming in this one out of the NL East. Both teams are on 6-game winning streaks for the series opener. This is further accented by what seems to be a good pitching matchup with Spencer Strider against well, here's another one for me that I always struggle with. Ramirez Suarez. Okay.
Ranger Suarez.
Well, I actually looked it up, Ross, and I went to see what it says, and it maybe he does go by Ranger, but I did my homework and I tried to go with the Spanish way, or whatever nationality specifically that it is, of getting it right. So it actually comes in at Ranez is actually how it comes in.
It broke my heart, buddy, because that was one of my favorite names in all of baseball. Ranger Suarez. I mean, you go through a life with a name like Ranger Suarez, you're the coolest dude on the block, man.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but I knew, I was pretty sure it wasn't Ranger, because I've used that my whole life too, or as long as he's pitched. So anyways, in looking for edges though in this matchup, there's not a lot to work with. Braves in their last 7 games, averaging 8.7 runs per game. Phillies 6.3. Okay, yeah, that's 2 runs per game, or 2 runs per game difference, but still, both teams are scoring a lot of runs right now. In the home road dichotomy, okay, between the two teams, Atlanta on the road 22-11. Phillies at Citizens Bank Ballpark 19-11. Not much there. And then if you go to the bullpen area, in the same fashion, home road dichotomies, both teams just under 3 earned runs per game. So where do you find an edge with Atlanta, a minus 140 favorite? Well, Strider has had some command issues of late. Okay, he's got an ERA of 9 in his last 3 starts. Walks are way up. Hits are giving up more than a hit an inning, and he's been taken deep 6 times in 15 innings, Ross. Now, Strider is 4-1 against Philly with a 3.33 ERA, which should give him some confidence. Still a little queasy there. Now, our boy Ranger here, though, his ERA is a brilliant 0.90 in his last 3 starts. Is 3.15 against the Bravos, and so he has walked though a lot of batters when facing Atlanta, especially in his last 3 starts. And Atlanta is 12-5 this season against left-handed starters at scoring 5.9 runs per game. When I look at this one, do I think that Philadelphia can pull the upset in this one? I do, but I'm not going to go that direction. I'm instead, Ross, going to go with the run line, the plus 1.5 run line on Philadelphia, knowing that teams in this price range with Philadelphia, which is at minus 140 on the plus 1.5 run line, When facing a team that averages 1.5 or more home runs a game against an opposing pitcher who has given up one or less earned runs in each of his last two starts, teams like Atlanta in this spot are 7-29 against the run line. I'm hopping on the Philadelphia Express on this one, Ross, to taking them on the run line.
The Philadelphia Phillies +1.5, -140 over the Atlanta Braves on Tuesday, June 20th from Mr. Doug Upstone. And he's taking Ranger Suarez, baby. You can't lose with a cool name like that, Ranger. Don't let us down. All right, I'm going to look at the LA Dodgers and the LA Angels. I almost call them the Anaheim Angels. But Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers, and it'll be Ross Detmers for the LA Angels. Right now, as we speak, the Dodgers are a -140 money line favorite, and the total in this game is 8. And that's where my area of focus is going to be here, because I just can't pull the trigger on a team like the Dodgers, who is playing the way they are right now. Their pitching has been horrible. Their strong suit has always been their hitting. That's tailed off a little bit, although I think this is a spot where you may see their bats wake up. And their bullpen has been atrocious of late, and pretty much all year long. Anyway, you got two power-laden teams. You got the LA Dodgers, who have hit 116 home runs, Doug, which is 1.61 home runs per game, which is outstanding. And you know what? The Angels quietly, they've hit 108 home runs this year, and they're averaging 1.46 home runs per game. And again, anything over 125 or more is an impressive number. And these teams are at 146 and 161. Kershaw, 12-2 to the over since 2021, when he faces an opponent that hits 1.25 or more home runs per game. The LA Dodgers this year, when they face a team like Philadelphia or like the Angels that hit 1.25 or more home runs per game, or average, I should say, the LA Dodgers have played 18-6 to the over in those games, with a combined average of 11.2 runs scored per game. The Dodgers bullpen, like I alluded to, I'm not going to beat it to death. Let's just go to last 7 games: 7.93 ERA, 170 WHIP, terrible. The LA Angels bullpen, the last 7, a 163 WHIP, not very good at all. They have 4.87 ERA over the last 7 games, is deceiving based on the 163 WHIP. That ERA could be a lot higher. And the Angels relievers have walked 17 batters in 24 innings pitched over the last 7 games. You can't give a team as dangerous as the Dodgers are offensively free passes. I don't see that trend discontinuing overnight. And then Detmer, one start versus the LA Dodgers, and that came in 2021. Actually won last year and won this year, and he's got a 9.34 ERA lifetime against the Dodgers. And also, actually not 130. It's 9.34 ERA and 185 WHIP over the last 2 years against the Dodgers. And also Detmer's 12-3 to the over, when the money line is +125 to -125. Right now they're +120. You guessed it, Doug. I'm taking the LA Dodgers and LA Angels over the total of 8.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one for sure. Even though Clayton Kershaw is my favorite pitcher of this baseball era, okay, yeah, that he has pitched in, and he's still, in my mind, a top 10 starter. He is not the Clayton Kershaw of yesteryear, and he does make more mistakes over the plate. And he'll have the 2 and 3 game, 2 or 3 out. The opposing teams hit 2 or 3 home runs in a single game. Not all the time, but it happens. Okay. And so from that standpoint, I think he at least is vulnerable, and it's just a matter of how many guys are on base when he happens to give those up. Detmers, okay, I'm not a big fan of his just in general from that standpoint. And I am an Angels fan, so I do like the team just overall. But in that one, I'm with you here. I think, it would not be at all a surprise to see double digits, okay, for a final score in this one. And the Dodgers bullpen, 29th in baseball. Only the Oakland A's have a worse ERA than the Dodgers do in the bullpen ERA. Wow.
Yeah, that's hard to wrap your head around, especially.
And because forever they've always had at least solid
Yeah,
bullpens.
it's like if they had the lead after 6 innings,
Yep.
their win percentage went up to about 880.
Yeah.
So hey, it is what it is. Okay, so we're taking the Dodgers and the Angels over the total of 8, and Doug likes the Philadelphia Phillies plus the 1.5 over the Atlanta Braves at money line odds of -140. Doug, tell the folks what you may have coming up this week and any hot streaks you might like to make them aware of.
Yes, well, baseball, I'm happy to say that I had a 3-0 sweep on Friday and a 2-0 sweep on Sunday. And I would be in such a better mood. I mean, just an incredibly better mood if the aforementioned Los Angeles Angels bullpen had not given up 8 runs against the worst team in baseball in the last 3 innings of their game on Saturday. Yeah. To lose the game outright, let alone not cover the run line with an 8-2 lead.
Yeah.
I digress. I'll move on from there. But frustrated still. Yes, that's me. But otherwise, baseball, yes. It was a good weekend, and these little speed bumps keep coming up for me. Okay, that happened. I really believe I'm ready just to go off on a really nice streak. So I'm excited about that. CFL action, another winner. Canadian Football League, Ross's favorite. He loves all those guys.
Gimmick football, baby. Doug's the king.
So 2-0. Okay, to start the season, the USFL, another winner, 5-0.
Nice
right now.
Nice.
Had another 5-unit play that hits. So going into the playoffs for this upcoming weekend, red hot, and happy to tell Ross about it.
Yeah, very much so. You should. You should. Gimmick football at its finest. And Doug's making a killing. I'm joking, folks. But in any event, I don't do it. I don't do CFL. I don't do USFL. And I'm just giving Doug a hard time because he does. But it's all in fun. And this guy wins. And I could tell you folks, well, you guys don't want to chime in and say, I don't bet the USFL. I don't even watch it. I can't even get a Canadian Football League game. Well, you know what? Why do you have to watch it? If a guy wins at the rate he's winning at, why do you have to watch a game? The end of the day, you want to win. And that's what Doug's doing for you. So go over to DocSports.com. And when you see a CFL or USFL games up for sale, give it some strong consideration, folks, and get it out of your mind. You don't have to know nothing about either league or the rules, and you don't have to watch it. You just need to win. That's imperative. All right, you can find me over at rbwins.com. That's rbwins.com. 4-0 weekend, like I said, in Major League Baseball. That's all I'm doing right now. My all sports run is now at 43-31, 58%. Not bad. I mean, dime players over that course of time have made $9,310 net profit. So we'll take that. And the winning continues. If you see this video on Monday and not Tuesday morning, I do have a play up for sale right now, a winning total in Major League Baseball on Monday night. If not, I'll have plenty of action tomorrow in Major League Baseball. And folks, don't forget, join us tomorrow morning around 11 o'clock Eastern time, not live, but it will be published around 11 o'clock Eastern time. Another one of our Winner's Circle sports betting podcasts with Jesse Shule and Sean Higgs. And we'll be talking Major League Baseball and giving you some winners at that time as well. And why don't you subscribe if you haven't already? If you watched on Friday, you went 4-0. Congratulations to all of those people out there who did watch and do appreciate these videos. And folks, you're this far along watching this video. That tells me you really love the topic of sports betting. We have all professionals on this channel, all with proven track records, all on some of the biggest internet sites when it comes to sports betting you'll find anywhere on the internet. So again, folks, take a second, hit that WC button in the bottom right-hand corner, subscribe, hit your notification bell, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our podcasts going up on our channel. Until the next time, for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, and all the guys over at gamblersworld.com who do a great job behind the scenes, like Seth, my graphic man, and also Big Jim Quinn, the owner. Take care and God bless, folks.